Welcome to Tips on How Sitting Affects the Upper Body. I'm Dr. Carla Capito. Today I'd like to speak with you about a generalized condition known as upper cross syndrome. The reason this condition is known as a cross syndrome is because it's formed by two tight muscles and two weak or inhibited muscles creating the shape of a cross. So to start out, the difference between a weak muscle and an inhibited muscle is that a weak muscle simply doesn't have any strength to it, while an inhibited muscle has a poor neuromuscular connection, which essentially means that it just doesn't fire very well or at the appropriate time. So the two muscles that create the tight band are the suboccipital muscles, which are at the base of the skull, and the pectoralis muscles, which become tight from rolling forward at the shoulders. The two weak muscles or inhibited muscles are the deep neck flexors, which are flexors that run along the front side of the vertebrae, and the middle, lower, and rhomboid muscles that are in between and below the shoulder blades. So the weak muscles or inhibited muscles and tight muscles create this shape of a cross. That's why it's called upper cross syndrome. So why is this relevant? Why do we have a problem with this? Well, when we sit at our office desk all day, our heads come out in front of us and our shoulders roll forward. So this happens on a regular basis, whether we're at our computer or not. The general population is like this and like this. So this is a problem because when our head comes forward, our deep neck flexor muscles, which are the ones that run along the front of the vertebrae, become very weak and inhibited because the sternocleidomastoid, or SCM muscle, becomes really tight. So now there's a compensation that has to take place. Because our heads are coming forward, we generally look downward somewhat. But that's not great because we want to look at everybody in the eye. So what happens is we extend slightly at the base of the skull through the suboccipitals. So this is a problem because the suboccipitals have to fire all the time, as do the SCMs because they're out in front of us. And then the deep neck flexor muscles just become more and more inhibited. So the other issue is with the shoulders rolling forward, these pectoralis muscles, the pectoralis major and minor, become extremely tight. So since we're rolled forward all day, they just become shortened. They are fighting constantly with the middle traps and the rhomboids, which are the muscles that pull our shoulder blades back. Most of us don't like doing this because it takes a lot of effort, and we're fighting against these tight muscles that pull us forward. So what we need to learn how to do is get the shoulders back and down. So the lower trap is the muscle that helps to pull the shoulder blades or scapula. If you envision these as the scapulas, they need to pull down your thorax and towards each other, as though you're trying to pinch a pencil between your shoulder blades and pull them down towards the ground. So how can we deal with this in the workplace? How can we combat these issues of upper cross syndrome? Well, it's easy. All you're going to do is start with a chin tuck. So basically with the chin tuck, all you're doing is pulling your chin backwards to create an ugly double chin. So you're going to pretend as though a train track runs through your mouth and out the back of your head. And all you're going to do is slide your head back on that train track. So once you get it back, you're going to hold it for 3 to 5 seconds and repeat this 15 times. Do this as many times as you can think of it through the day, as this is going to help to activate the deep neck flexor muscles and strengthen them. There's a problem with stretching out through the suboccipitals because all we want to do is flex our heads forward to loosen off through the back of the neck. There's a major problem with this because neck flexion, and when done repetitively, causes a weakening of the disc, the intervertebral disc that exists between each of the vertebrae, making it more prone to either disc irritation, bulging, or herniation. So we're not going to work on stretching this muscle, but instead work on stretching other muscles and strengthening other muscles that will in turn relieve the suboccipital group. Now, to work on the pectoralis muscles, this is really easy. Every time you get up from your desk, you should think about this. You're going to find a place on a wall or in a doorway, and all you're going to do is put your hand up against the wall or doorway and lean forward. By doing this, you'll feel a real opening through the front here of the pectoralis minor and the pectoralis major. Now, to work in combination with that, you're going to work on strengthening the middle traps, the rhomboids, and the depressors, the lower traps. So what you're going to do is concentrate on squeezing your shoulder blades together. So when you're pulling them together, you're thinking about essentially putting a pencil between your shoulder blades and not letting it drop to the floor. When you pull back, that's going to work the middle traps and the rhomboids, and when you pull down, that's going to engage the lower trapezius. So when you're sitting at your desk, you can just think about bringing your shoulders back and down. So that's going to open up through the pecs and strengthen through the back. So one exercise that you can do while you're in your chair is called a wall angel. Why it's called a wall angel is because typically you do it against the wall. But if you want to modify and do this at your office desk, you can do it in your chair. So all you're going to do is squeeze those shoulder blades together and pull them down and put your hands out as though you're going to prepare to do a snow angel in the snow. So you're just going to pull your hands up and down. And the whole time you're doing that, you're really focusing on squeezing the shoulder blades together. So that's going to help to strengthen through those scapular stabilizing muscles. So if you have time or a place to do this against a wall, you're going to make sure that the back of your hand is in contact with the wall while you do that, the entire movement. So the hands should slide up and down. I hope these tips have been helpful for you so that you can help to combat a condition such as upper cross syndrome in the office. Have a great day.